time, I'd like to call to order the Monday, July 21st meeting of the Currituck County Board of Commissioners. At 6 p.m., we had a work session where we discussed a Moyock stormwater and the possibility of a Moyock stormwater district. At this time, I would like to call on Reverend Kimberly Farabee of Elder Baptist Church to lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Let us bow our heads. Gracious Father, we do thank you for this day. Father, we ask that as we go forth in this meeting that you give us guidance and wisdom. God, we ask that you, even as we agree or disagree, that you allow us to reason together. And it's in your name that we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Farabee. Next agenda item is approval of agenda. I do want to make one addition to the agenda under new business. Item 1 would be the GOP's recommendation for replacement for Commissioner on District 4. That will be our first item of business.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is public comment. We have one person signed up, Stacy Joseph. And as always, we ask that you state your name and your address for the record. Thank you.
You're welcome. Stacy Joseph, 788 Tullis Creek Road. I'm the Senior Center Coordinator. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to reinforce the flyer that I had already emailed out to the commissioners and to Dan about a new program that we're trying to start called Seniors Helping Seniors. It's a very basic and simple program where we take some of the activities that we have at the Senior Center and we take it into some of our homebound seniors throughout the county. Not only does this provide social interaction for some of those seniors that are already currently receiving meals and so forth, but it also opens up the communication to other seniors in the county that may not be taking part in any of our programs. So hopefully they will call us wanting to get on this program, wanting to have somebody come to their house, and if they're able to have people come and do that, that's great. If they are able to come to the Senior Center, it opens that communication to be able to have maybe ICPTA bring them in. It really depends on their physical needs. It's senior volunteers that we would like to go into these people's homes and spend time with them because they're on the same level. They have the same social characteristics. It also opens up the doors for other people to be able to lay eyes on them and see what other needs they may have. I've had a great response of sending out, I'm on a listserv with everybody in the state, all senior center directors, and I've sent out this information to them, and I've had a great response. Either, this is a great idea, we'd like to do this, how would you go about doing it? So it's also inspiring other people to try to get involved in their counties to help seniors. And they're very simple, basic things. It may be taking a puzzle or watching a movie or reading a book, or you have a senior that doesn't see so well, and they've missed out on those things. So somebody would go in and spend a couple hours with a person once a month doing that. The great thing about this program is it doesn't have to be 20 people. It can be one person. If it starts out that small, that's okay. We're providing services to one person that wasn't getting it before. So I hope that it grows and it becomes an asset for the people in the community. And if you're interested in volunteering or you know of someone, even though we send out all this information, word of mouth is the best way to keep the information going. A lot of people get these flyers and they don't pay attention to what they're reading, or even if they look at them. So if you know somebody or you see somebody that might benefit, that would be great. We're also kind of partnering up, hopefully, with DSS and a couple other county offices to try to identify those seniors in the community. And I always get up here and ramble and get nervous. I'm good when I'm sitting out there, and then I get up here and I don't know. I lose everything that I'm going to say. But I hope you get a good feel for it. It's a nice program. Yes, Butch?
Are we still doing Currituck Cares?
They are still doing Currituck Cares, yes. This is a little bit different, though. This is just taking the fun, simple, basic stuff out there.
Still being implemented.
Yes, that is still being implemented.
Tell us again. Who do they contact? How do they contact?
Okay. They can contact me at the Senior Center at 232-3505. We're going to have some information on the website if they have that access. If not, hopefully they'll see this and, get their attention. Paul's great at getting that word out, aren't you, Paul?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I would like to include, we had our quarterly meeting here last week, and we are looking for trips next year. Where are we going as seniors?
Washington, D.C. and New York.
So
2 short 3-day trips.
3-day trips, overnight?
Yes, they're overnight short trips, one in the spring and one in the fall.
So people, if seniors are interested, just contact the Senior Center and get your name on the list. They're fun trips.
The list is not out yet, so if you call me and bombard me, I don't have any information to give you yet. So let me get that information out, and then you're welcome to call.
Stacy, what's the minimum age for seniors to be qualified to take these trips? I feel senior some days.
55. 55.
I'm not far behind. Okay.
It's 55 to do senior center activities, 60 to participate in nutrition.
Darn, I got another year.
I'll trade you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm lying.
That's the only person I had signed up tonight. Is there anyone else who did not sign up that wishes to speak? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and move to the first item on the agenda. I'm not sure who is making the presentation. Mr. Tabor, would you please come forward? Well, he raised his hand. And this is the recommendation from the Executive Committee of the Currituck County Republican Party to replace Commissioner McCord, District 4.
May I approach, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you may. Would you like for me to read that, or do you want to read it? Or did you just give me all your copies?
I saved myself one.
Okay, proceed.
Commissioners, Currituck Commissioners, according to North Carolina State Statute 157, please be advised that the Executive Committee of the GOP in Currituck has nominated a candidate for the position recently vacated by County Commissioner Kevin McCord. The nomination is Mr. Paul Beaumont, who will be our nominee for the remainder of Mr. McCord's term. He will be on the ballot in November. Sincerely, Brian Ennis, Chairman, GOP.
Thank you, sir. At this time, the board has two options. They can accept the recommendation from the Currituck County Republican Party, or they can substitute someone if that's their desire. However, if the commissioners do not appoint the person that is recommended by the Republican Party, that person they recommend will still be on the ballot in November, and if we appoint someone different, they will serve until the first meeting in December. Is that correct, Mr. McCree?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, at this time, I'll take a nomination from the floor or an acceptance of the recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank the Executive Committee for their hard work. I know they met on numerous occasions and vetted this process. I want to thank them for what they've done. I think it's how the system is supposed to work, and I will make a motion to accept their recommendation.
Effective the first meeting in August?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Idlett to accept the Executive Committee's recommendation to appoint Mr. Paul Beaumont effective the first meeting in August. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. You can pick which one you like to record. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Beaumont. You will be sworn in at the next meeting, and then after that, you'll be sworn out.
Well said, Mr. Chairman.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
If you have a comment, it's totally appropriate at this time. Make a brief comment, and then we'll continue on.
First of all, I, too, would like to thank the Executive Committee for the confidence or the vote of confidence that they had in selecting me to fill Mr. McCord's seat. Most of you I've known for years, and I've worked with most of you as well for many years, and I look forward to the opportunity to serve the county of Currituck in yet a different role, and I look forward to working with you and learning from those that have been here a while and bring a different perspective to help contribute. So again, Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to it.
As do we, and I would ask that you contact the county manager maybe tomorrow so that he can get you in the system. And
Already
get
done.
You, okay.
Thanks,
Thank
sir.
you.
Could we get his phone number so we can put it up and people could start calling?
Yeah. We'll call forward and all their numbers to you. Okay.
And I would like to make sure that he gets a copy of our work session we had tonight.
Yes. And again, thank you and congratulations. Next item is consent agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion for approval.
Second that motion.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying. Do you have discussion?
Yes, I was just going to make
Okay.
just a comment. I was looking at, under the consent agenda, the resolution to modify the bond. I think it's number 9. I just wanted to point out it appears in review of the agenda packet that the interest was substantively reduced from 4.09% to 2.98%. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So I just wanted to point out that that was a significant
Big
savings.
plus. Big
Yes.
plus.
Yes, that's all.
And, well, since we're on that, there's one other thing. We sent a resolution to the North Carolina Highway Patrol.
Yes.
Currituck County has not had a full contingency of highway patrol since, I think, 2007, if my information is correct. And in 2004, I'm looking at Mr. Long as he's a retired highway patrolman. I think in 2004, the state did send us an additional highway patrol above our contingent who patrolled on the Outer Banks. But we are down, I think, 3 highway patrolmen in Currituck County and have been for some time. And that puts an additional burden on the sheriff's deputies to help with traffic situations when that's not their primary job is traffic. They're more than happy and glad to do it, and thankfully they do. But we do have a resolution, and I have spoken with or corresponded with Representative Steinberg and Cook, and they're going to try to help us get a full contingency. So any other comments about the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. We'll go to the Commissioner's report. Mr. Griggs, do you have anything?
I have nothing tonight.
Mr. Martin?
Not a thing, thank you.
Mr. Idlet?
Yes, a couple of things. I just received an email a few minutes ago from Jason Somerton of some pictures of a horse tour on the Outer Banks. And he goes on to describe it as he was the one taking the picture, saying another tour violation, this time on top of a vegetated dune on private property in Swan Beach. It's getting out of hand. Just thought I would send it. I have many pictures of this type of behavior. I would ask Ben to have your staff please contact Mr. Somerton. Take a look at these pictures. If there's violations, cite them. Needs to stop. That's all it is to it. And so I forwarded them to each and every one of you. I wish you would take a look at it. I don't think this picture lies. I think it's this is a good one. I've heard some comments before about some of the pictures didn't show exactly what it was, and I agree with that. I totally understand that and know that, but some don't lie, and this one don't. And we need to get a handle on it. I've observed over this year, by and far, I think the horse tours have done a good job this year, in my opinion. I've not seen any reckless violations or anything out of hand. I've not spent as much time on the beach this year due to some other issues that I've had going on. But I will be after this next weekend. My granddaughter will be finishing her ball season, so I'll be able to get back to the beach some. But in the few times we have been over, they have been pretty well behaved, and I've not seen any issues myself. But this one here is something that needs to be looked at. Second thing, I also got a call from Mr. Don Cheeks this afternoon. He said that they have an issue with the trash company over there. He said he had talked with you, Mr. Manager.
He did.
And I would just ask you and ask the rest of the board to support and support me in asking the manager to take a look at that and see if it can't figure out what the issues are. It has to do with times of pickup, and I understand this afternoon in the Currituck Club there was one whole street that was not picked up at all. So there's certainly some issues there that needs to be taken care of, and I would ask for you to let me know what you find out with that.
Yes, sir.
Last but not least, received an email from, well, you sent it as well, but I had already gotten it from Mr. and Mrs. McLeese. Looks like the legislative process that we had been hoping for to eliminate tolls on ferries did not come to fruition in this short session. The House of Representatives, bless them, they've done everything in their power. John Talbert, our Representative Steinberg, and Bill Cook, and all of them have really tried hard to get this thing done. The Senate Conferee Committee, for some reason, wouldn't even entertain it whatsoever. So I assume that it will go back to the regular session. I've been assured they're going to bring it up again. Since I'm replacing Mr. Petrie on the RPO board, I'm going to ask for y'all to support me. I certainly am going to request that they will table this thing and not ask for anything until the next legislative session is done. Thank you.
Sir.
Oh, one other thing. I brought up last meeting night about the parking situation at Brumley's Landing over Knott's Island. Yesterday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, about 4 o'clock, I rode down there just to take a look. Trailers were backed up all the way down past Pearl's Lane. There were 4 boat trailers and trucks that were waiting to get there to pull vehicles up. They had 4 driveways and Pearl's Lane completely blocked. Couldn't even get to the landing. And there were also 2 other boats that were out there just making circles, waiting because there was no place to get to the boat dock. They were just making circles, waiting for people to pull up and move so they could get up to even go get their vehicles. So we got a problem there. That's all there is to it. And so I just wanted to pass that along. Thank you.
Aren't many of the vehicles parked there private passenger vehicles and not boats and trucks?
The parking is some, yeah. I think last weekend when it was full, there were 25 vehicles that had trailers on them, 25. Now, certainly there was a load in there that didn't have, but I'm talking about something totally separate now. I'm talking about blocking of the roads of people trying to pull boats up that are boats and boat trailers. Right. So the capacity and numbers of boats certainly is, the ramp is not sufficient for the numbers of boats and trailers that are launching and pulling up on weekends in the summertime. Wintertime's a whole different story. Summertime, and you got to figure those folks are they're going to Currituck. We know where they're going. Everybody does. I mean, they own homes there, and instead of driving 100 miles around and being tied up in traffic for 4 hours, they're smart. They'll go put their boat over and go across that way, and don't blame them. Anybody had any sense would do that had access to it.
Right.
So, but it's an issue.
But my issue is not with people pulling trailers. My issue is with people parking private vehicles at the boat ramp to go to Currituck when they shouldn't be parking private vehicles in a boat ramp.
They're parking not in a boat ramp. They're parking in a Currituck County owned parking facility. So I've been told. So if the Board of Commissioners wants to make a change and say that you can't park a vehicle there unless it's got a boat trailer behind it, well, then that's certainly up to this board. I can tell you right now, you're going to get eat alive when you go there by even citizens of Knott's Island. But neither here nor there.
I understand. I was just raising a point.
I understand, and I have looked at it, and I have thought about it long and hard. And if I had a solution, my friend, I would certainly offer it. I don't have one other than to put in another ramp facility somewhere, and what I offered the other night, asked Wildlife Resources to partner with us to see if we can do that.
And I think staff is looking into that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Petrie?
I just asked Commissioner Odlett to find out the day that picture was taken, and I can tell you who's driving the truck. I know whose truck it is, and we can fix it. This is easy.
Good.
Other than that, I'm good to go.
Gilbert?
No comments this evening.
I have a couple things. First thing was this past Friday, I went with the Chambers of Commerce of Currituck, Pasquotank, Dare County, several other chambers. And we went to the Port of Hampton Roads to discuss the port operations and what's going on. And as you know, we were successful in getting the House and the Senate and the governor to sign off on our foreign trade zone. I found out there's two issues that are holding the foreign trade zone up. Number one is customs. The customs office in Virginia they can go 90 miles in a direction, but they cannot cross the state line unless the customs office in Wilmington cedes that territory to them. So I think there's something in the works. There's been a letter sent, but I think we need to talk with our congressman to see, because that's a federal issue, to see about having the customs office in Wilmington give up the territory so that the customs office in Virginia can come across the line to North Carolina. Okay? And then the other issue is the Hampton Roads Port Authority would have to amend their charter to include northeastern North Carolina. Now, that's something I believe maybe their House of Delegates would, I'm not sure if it's under their Department of Commerce or their legislative purview, but that's something that we need to ask the port members to push whomever has to make that decision. Once those two things are done, then the foreign trade zone in Currituck County, and of course Camden and Pasquotank benefit from it as well. Then you will have those opportunities here in Currituck County. Yes, sir.
I would think Secretary Tata, Transportation Secretary Tata, with his contact with his father that's retired from the House of Delegates, could have a big impact.
Absolutely, and I think Mr. Idlet knows somebody up there he could talk to as well.
I would be very welcome and glad to set up a meeting with Barry Knight. He represents the Virginia Beach area in the House of Delegates, a good friend of mine, and I am sure that he would do all he could to try to help us. If we could figure out a list of people from the port that would like to attend that meeting, county manager, maybe the attorney, yourself, and whoever, I'll be glad to attend, and I'll set something up with Mr. Knight, and we'll see what we can get done.
But I will tell you that port is going to have a 55-foot channel, which no port on the East Coast is going to be able to match that.
Nope.
The one in South Carolina won't. The one in Georgia won't. Of course, the one in Georgia is an inland port. You got to go 20 miles in to do the one in Savannah. The federal government has allocated $300 and some million, I believe, or some huge amount. Maybe don't write that. It's some huge amount of money they've allocated to this port to make sure their channels are deep enough to handle these huge ships. They don't have land up there. They've got the port, but they don't have the land they need, and it's natural to come into northeastern North Carolina for some of the opportunities for business out of that port. So we need to get on top of that and see it through.
I would just recommend that when we meet with him that we have someone from the port that would explain that and show what the benefit would be too.
And I think we can make that happen.
Okay.
So, Mr. Manager, we need to pull that together.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
going back to when you were speaking about the customs, Virginia versus North Carolina, those are general field offices, and they have their parameters established. It would probably be a lot easier to have an accommodation worked out between the two field offices, because it would probably be problematic for customs in this division to want to give up any territory. Sometimes that probably goes beyond the field division's jurisdiction. So they may be able to work out an accommodation, because it would probably facilitate the field office here in Carolina as far as logistically sending people when it would be closer. So that could be, I'd suggest maybe in-house they could work that out, because I know how that works with the Bureau.
And that's what they're trying to do, but I also know how bureaucracy works. If you don't stay on top of it, it's just going to creep along. The next issue is traffic in Currituck County. Lower Currituck, for the last several weekends, the people in Lower Currituck have been, well, it happens every summer, but they have been literally held hostage If there had been a serious accident, if there had been somebody had a heart attack, a stroke, they could not have gotten out of Lower Currituck unless the Nightingale came, or I don't know what we would do. But the traffic in Lower Currituck, all the way up through Corolla, is just become tremendous. The people now with GPSs can hit the back roads. They hit the spot road. They hit the backwoods Grandy road. They're driving 60. Southern Shores are driving 60, 70 miles an hour. And I can just say unequivocally that the businesses in Lower Currituck just as well shut down on the weekends. And that is not anything that any government in Raleigh should ever tolerate, to not have any plan for addressing traffic in a county to the point where businesses cannot operate and people cannot get out on the highway for much less get a quart of milk. If something happens, we can't get anybody in to them to help them. And whether it's a bridge, whether it's a whatever, but the state has taken every project that Currituck County had and thrown them out. And just about everything in Northeast. That is not acceptable, and I don't know what the answer is, but we have got to put the heat up. I don't know if we need to take a videotape of the traffic and show them. What I'd like to do is invite everybody down on Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock, invite them to Corolla, and let them give them a day start so they can get there.
Mr. Chairman, I have a suggestion. Let's do this. Let's set up a meeting about transportation at the Whalehead Club. Have it on Memorial Day weekend on Saturday. And Mr. Martin and myself will transport the board.
4th of July would be great.
Well, we're past that now, but coming up on, Labor Day, not Memorial Day, excuse me, Labor Day coming up. And Mr. Martin and myself will transport all the board members by boat. And we'll have it around 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
I can take us all.
I can just say there's not another part of the state that would be tolerated.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
I believe the radio station said the backup was 23 miles.
Yeah.
And I'll just add to that, because I live in Point Harbor, and this year I've noticed that it is just significantly worse, because it starts now at 9 o'clock in the morning, and in past years it was closer to 12. And I personally know businesses that won't even open. They just say, because nobody wants to stop. They want to get to where they're going because they know they can't get back out once they get off. So it's obviously detrimental to our businesses here and the public safety. However, if my understanding, we did have a tape. There was a video done, and it was presented to them showing the long lines. That was over there presented. That was presented in.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years
Yeah.
We paid $9,000.
Yeah, I mean, they know it, and there was DOT people here that saw it. That was over on the Outer Banks when we did that.
Positive reinforcement.
You got a new crowd now
Yeah.
that hasn't seen it, and we've got to redouble our efforts. I'm just saying it's not acceptable for one half of this county to be shut down on a weekend. It's not acceptable.
Did Mr. Keene see that video? Did he get a copy of it?
He did not.
But since I've been on the board, it's been my understanding that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the state of North Carolina looks at 158, 168 as a corridor. And that's been our impediment to having anything, whether it's any kind of react, because they're just looking at it as get from point A to point B, and we're in the middle. They won't put up stoplights. Every solution or quasi-solution that we've tried to present to DOT has been falling on deaf ears. I don't know what it's going to take, because I think we're going to get some more of the deaf ears, because unless the attitude changes from 158 being a corridor, I don't know what the incentive would be for the state to do anything. And whatever they do is going to be expensive.
Will be a satellite of Charlotte, then you can get some money.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to share as well, you're talking about traffic. One of the employees that works with the beach cleanup folks over there told me they had the ramp there near not food line, ramp near Harris Teeter. They had to go pick up an automotive part during the week, a week or so ago. It took them 3 hours to drive to Kitty Hawk to an auto parts store and back to their location. 3 hours to drive that distance.
Took me 2.5 hours to get from Corolla to the Wright Memorial Bridge this past Wednesday afternoon.
I was on the beach.
It'd be 40 minutes
Yeah.
to get from Moyoc to Coinjock Saturday morning at 8 o'clock.
But you were blessed when you got to Coinjock. My last item, several months ago, we had a member of the Coin Jock Ruerton Club came here about signage and events. And it was reminded to me, it was pointed out to me today that we were going to have another look at that. Have we had another look at that?
Yes, sir. You have modified the procedure.
No. Not about tourism. I'm talking about the signage and the special event signage. Why can't we just, what we've got is obviously causing a lot of heartburn. Why can't you just say, okay, you can put signs out during the 2 weeks ahead, and they got to be up one week after that, and just make it simple?
We can look at that. We can.
Because, and I was reminded today about these nonprofits. They put a lot of money in the community helping people, whether it's the Ruertons, they give scholarships, they do Teacher of the Year. All of their money goes back in the community, and they build ramps for handicaps. You got the Arts Council. You've got the Animal Lovers. You got SPCA. All these people are putting money back in the county and saving the taxpayers money. I think we need to have another look at that thing. And that's what I would recommend and ask that the board and the staff do that.
I'll put something together.
And that is my last comment. And with that, we'll go to the county manager.
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
With that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
You got it.
Second.
Any further discussion? Aye.
Aye.
Nays may stay.
This good?